All right, so here we are. We are 1 week out from the Bloomsday race, one of the biggest fun runs in America, actually. It's quite some fun. That's why they call it a fun run. But with that taken in mind, with all the hard work that we have been doing over the last couple of weeks, we want to make sure that you do get to the race as healthy and as recovered as possible. And that's why today we'll be going over recovery and tapering and quasi-peaking as well. So with that taken into account, let's get going and run faster.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We're excited for Bloomsday coming up in about a week. Like Todd said, it's one of the biggest races in the country. Largest timed road race? One of the largest timed road races? It's up there. It's pretty big. 70 plus 50,000 people.
50,000.
50,000?
50,000.
But there's also a chance for a little bit of prize money, so we want to be doing pretty close to our best. Let's first talk a little bit about tapering, because some people don't know exactly what tapering is. They think it is just getting lighter and lighter and lighter workload. And tapering is actually more of kind of cycling your way down into where your race is going to be.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So over the course of the last couple months, we've been putting in some hard work. We've done sections of faster training, to work down to that race pace and faster. And then we've done periods where we're overtraining distance and getting a lot of volume in there. Now, because of that, our bodies are actually really quite sore and tired in the last couple of weeks before that race period. So we want to work our bodies down to a point where we're sharp enough, but also we don't lose any fitness along the way, so we can really have at it with this 12K.
Right, so we're timing it so that basically a normal period of recovery for us kind of lines up with that period leading into the week. And then that's when the peaking point comes in. We got to kind of phase out our week, and so that we're getting a pretty close to full recovery right before Bloomsday. So let's just jump in to talk about, I know we probably have slightly different strategies what we're doing this week, but let's talk a little bit about, let's start with what you're going to do this week to kind of make sure that you're ready, and then I'll say what I'm doing because it's going to be a little bit different.
Absolutely. So over the last couple of weeks, my body's been used to going through a cycle where, I do a hard workout, I'm a little bit sore, I go and do a regular run, and then an easier day, and then the next day following that, so probably the third or fourth day after a workout, my body's ready to go again. So kind of where I'm at with my training coming down into the race is I want to get my body back in that pre-race stage again, so workout as my body's been experiencing, so everything is really ready to fire and have the best race possible. So what I'll be doing is working back from the race. I want to have an easy day the day before the race, just an easy 3 or 4 miles. Day before that I'll probably go 5 or 6 miles easy, and then the day before that I'll do some sort of medium to easy workout, shorter volume, but somewhere around race pace. And then, so from that point, moving back towards today, there'll be another medium run in there of, 7 or 8 miles, and then another slightly longer workout.
Yeah, and so one thing that people kind of tend to do, I think, a little bit too much is they try to just take too many easy days leading up to the race. But what people fail to understand is that you actually have to be stressing your body a little bit, or else your body doesn't know to keep recovering and keep on that sharper end of getting fitter, basically. And so that's why he's going to have some workouts in, or some lighter workouts in, just to kind of make sure he is stressing his body and he's not over recovered. Is that a way to put it?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, you don't want your body going soft.
Yeah, exactly. So my strategy is going to be kind of similar. Instead of running the day before, I often take the day before a race completely off. If I do run, instead of doing a couple miles, it might just be warm my body up and then get some hard strides in and get my body used to that faster reaction. But that's something that each person kind of figures out what works best for their body over time. Similarly, a couple days before the race, I'm going to have another pretty easy day. I think I'm planning about 25 to 30 minutes easy. Get some strides in 2 days before the race too. And have a medium distance run in there sometime too. But then I do have so the race is on Sunday. I do have a pace kind of workout planned for Tuesday, which will be kind of close to or a little bit above my race pace, but much, much lower volume. So I'm stressing my body at that faster pace, making sure it's used to it, and then but it won't be a high enough volume that'll really be struggling to recover before Bloomsday.
Yeah, and I think that's where you see a lot of the differences come about in our training, was that I was able to run a race last weekend, so 2 weeks before this race coming up, and I was able to put my body in that, really taxed stage where I needed to recover a couple of days after that. So my body is already used to going race pace for or faster than this race for 5 to 6 miles. With the race being a 7.5 mile race, I don't really need to do as much pace work, longer than 3 or 4 miles coming into this race, just a week off. I can get away with something a little bit faster and a little bit more controlled. I can actually jump on a track and do 800s, say, and do 5 or 6 of those at a really comfortable pace. That's going to be at or faster than race pace.
Yeah. So anything else you think adding? You want to add race day? We should probably do another video maybe about race day closer to the race. But
yeah, I think at least I'll be filming a my day race just like I did with the Carlsbad. That was a pretty fun time, so we'll get that going again. I've got one of our competitors and our college teammates, John O'Laffler, staying with me that morning, and also our old roommate Justin will be staying at my place as well that morning. So that should be a good little video. So that'll be coming out, obviously. I think the other thing that needs to be said really is what to do after the race.
Oh yeah.
What do you do after the race? You go and you have your perfect, the race that you've been aiming towards for a couple months and training for. What are you looking at to do as a cool down, or for the following days after that? What should people be looking out for?
So there's a lot of things that have kind of been a lot of new science, I think, that's come out around general cool down philosophy, especially with, and I was reading about this when we were talking the other day about ice baths and all that kind of stuff. They're saying one of the best things you can actually do after a race, especially a hard, longer distance effort like Bloomsday, is for a lot of you, Bloomsday might be that longer end of the spectrum. I guess for us, it's not as big of a deal, so we might get an actual jog in. But walking for a good amount of time, actually keeping your body moving for a good amount right after.
Keeping that blood flowing.
Yeah. For us, that might be more of a jog, but for a lot of people, that is just getting in, a good 10, 15 minutes of walking. And
so essentially walking through the stages, picking up your shirts, walking over to the beer garden.
Beer garden, of course.
But I mean, there's a lot to be said about getting to the beer garden and actually enjoying that aspect of the race.
Yeah, that's the fun part. Yeah, and then the day after the race, a lot of times it's either a day pretty easy. I like to get the blood flowing the day after the race. I really think that helps my long-term recovery, actually getting some sort of an effort in. But nothing hard the day after the race. Just get out, get your blood flowing, get your body warmed back up, and start recruiting that recovery process, basically. Exactly.
Helping your body reboot, essentially, refigure out how to recover. Because if you go too cold for too long, your recovery period is greater. So you do need to get out there and run. If not the day after the race, you can go for a walk the day after the race. But within the first 3 or 4 days after the race, you should be going, doing a run or two, just to make sure that your body is able to restart the recovery cycle, so that you are dealing with that inflammation that your body does have, and really recruiting more muscle fibers to help with that process. So what about in the months after the race, do you have any other races that you're looking forward towards? Longer races or shorter races, kind of?
I do have a mile that I want to hit in what's that, June, something like that.
Last weekend of June.
But I'm not really going to be training for that. I think I'm going to follow kind of the same progression because you're going up for the Ironman.
Yeah, so I'm stepping up in distance, but also stepping back in my total volume that I'll be running. So I'll be mixing a lot of cross training in there.
Yeah, get that heart and lungs strong, but maybe not as much of the ground reaction stuff that you get from just putting in the heavy mileage.
Yep.
So I'm going to kind of try to follow the same path, because I think we were talking about after your half marathon or half Ironman, trying to peak towards the end of the summer for like another mile, get some fast stuff in before we start getting into the fall heavy distance stuff. But I'll be stepping up distance, and so we'll have a reset period after Bloomsday, I think, where we're both trying to hit the longer kind of strength stuff a little bit more. Some cross training things that are going to help build us up total time exercising wise, but maybe not so much mileage wise.
Not as taxing on the body, so you're not going to break yourself while trying to get that done. So Yeah, we'll be throwing in a smattering of random road races and fun runs that we can find across the board as we delve into summer and beyond that, with goals of club cross country being in Spokane in December. So
stay tuned for that. That should be really fun. Hopefully we're going to be in hella good shape for that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be mixing around some longer running, some shorter running, and faster stuff, just to try and get our best, keep our body guessing and not getting too comfortable in any one sort of training.
Yeah, because that getting too used to one thing is a great way to hurt yourself.
Exactly. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure here over at Run Faster. Keep an eye out. Follow us along the way. We actually will be posting a couple more other social medias, and Run Faster.
Cheers, guys. Finish this vicious attack that we're getting.
Did that record the whole time?
Yeah, that was recording the whole time.
11 minutes?
11 minutes.
One stop.
All right.